Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our second session on the deployable equipment feature in SalamanderLive. In this training, I'm going to do a full breakdown of the deployable equipment feature, including defining what deployable equipment is and how to get access to the feature in SalamanderLive, understanding your organization hierarchy and the difference between account level organizations versus organization level organizations. We'll take a look at the deployable toggle and the differences between account and organization. We'll talk about importing deployable equipment, and then we'll take a look at deployable equipment visibility for account versus organization. And last, viewing the deployable equipment list and the deployable map. As always, our free monthly training calls are recorded. Please feel free to send any questions through the chat. My moderator will be able to answer them. So what is deployable equipment? Well, deployable equipment is any equipment designed to be moved to the field where it can be used when needed. In SalamanderLive, any equipment record can be marked as deployable. The deployable feature is included in a standard SalamanderLive subscription, and any user with create and edit permissions for the equipment list will have access. This includes any administrator, equipment management, and resource data entry roles. The deployable toggle is found within the equipment profile in either the add or edit. Deployable equipment can be set at the account level or the organization level. You'll see there's going to be a toggle when you click to activate deployable. This setting dictates who will be able to see your deployable equipment. Now, to understand the two options, we need to dive into your SalamanderLive organization hierarchy, which is represented in a tree structure. To view the tree structure or the hierarchy, you got to click on Organizations from the left menu and click on the organization tree icon. You'll see the account level organizations are shown in orange text, as you can see in this image here, and organization level organizations are shown in black text. To see all the organizations, simply continue to expand the folders. So why is the organization hierarchy important when it comes to a user's visibility of deployable equipment? Well, any deployable equipment toggled to account will be viewable by the account in all organizations, including any children. And we say children, we mean child organizations or sub-organizations. Deployable equipment toggled to organization will be viewable only by the organization assigned to that equipment. So taking a look at this image right here, we're going to do a breakdown. So taking a look at this portable generator that's been set to deployable account for Anywhere State Police. So all users, if we're looking at this breakdown here, all users, regardless of where they are assigned in the organization tree, will have visibility to this portable generator. Now using the same breakdown for radio. So this radio right here is set to deployable organization for Anywhere State Police. If you're looking at the organization hierarchy, Anywhere State Police is beneath Anywhere State DPS, which is the account. Underneath Anywhere State Police, there is a child organization called Anywhere State Highway Patrol. In this example, user visibility is going to be dependent on where they are assigned in this organization hierarchy and if they have access to view children organizations. So for Arthur Smith or Smith Arthur, who is assigned to Anywhere State DPS, so he is assigned at the top at the account level. However, he does not have access to view children organizations. Because of this, he cannot see the radio, since he does not have access to Anywhere State Police. The same can be said for Florence James. He is set at Anywhere State Highway Patrol and includes children access. He is set an organization underneath Anywhere State Police. Because of that, he also cannot see this radio. The other two, Christy and Kevin optioner are set at an organization where they have access to anywhere state police. That's why they're able to see that radio within that deployable equipment list. So hopefully that this visual gives you a better understanding of how access works when it comes to deployable account versus deployable organization. So I'm going to take us into Salamander Live and let's take a look at the account itself. So this is just an example. I'm logged into my training account. Taking a look at the user. So I'm logged in as Tanner Packman. Let's take a look at his profile to see where he is set up as a security user. Let me just refresh that really quick since I was too idle for too long. So he has access to Salamander Live, a bunch of other products. His role is set as an administrator at Sal Live Training plus Children Access. So how to take a look at this of where he's sitting at, you got to take a look at the organization hierarchy, that tree. So let's take a look at the organization hierarchy tree here. Looking at this tree, when you click on organization, simply click on organization tree, which is the second icon to the top left. And you'll be able to see your organization hierarchy. So Salamander Technologies will always be at the top. This is for support purposes. If you click to expand the folder, you'll see your account. So this is the account in which you are placed underneath. So he is set up at Sal Live Training with Children Access. So he has access to all of these organizations within the account. So here's the gigantic list. So that is his access. Taking a look at the equipment database for his access, you're going to see that there's two lists in here. You'll see the list, which is the list view. This is every piece of equipment that is available for Sal Live account and all the organizations. So this is again based off of his permissions. This is going to include equipment that's been marked as deployable as well as those that are not marked as deployable. Within this list, you're going to see there's a couple different columns that's going to help you to view this information. So in the columns button, so top right, last button is called columns. This is where you can go in and enter in some information. So you can add in columns to filter out your data as needed. So I'm going to add that deployable in here. I'm going to move it up. So I've got name, ID, deployable is public, and organization name. Now this is public is actually an important piece when it comes to seeing what is deployable account versus what is deployable organization. So is public means that is it set to the account? You're going to see true or false. If it's set to the organization, you'll see false in here for deployable. So we're going to close that out and you're going to see my list here. So I've got deployable in here. I can mark this as true. So I'm just looking at all my deployable pieces of equipment. So I've got in here 143 pieces of equipment marked as deployable. In this case, is public is going to show me whether it's set up to the account or to the organization. Because as of today, there's no real easy way to see this information. I'm going to give you an example in this case. So this is deployable true is public false. That means it's set up at the organization level. The only way to see that is by adding that column. The other way is to click into the record. You're going to see deployable has been checked marked, but you can't tell if it's set at deployable account or organization. So the best way to look at that is click on edit, and then that's where you're going to see the toggle. So in an edit function, you're going to see the deployable button that's checked, and then you'll see that's organization. So unlike the consumable checkbox, if you have asset management, you know that once you save the record, you can no longer edit this consumable checkbox. That's not the same for deployable. So if you change your mind and you want to mark this piece of equipment as deployable account and make it visible for the entire account, you can select it as such and then click Save. Now, an important note when it comes to deployable equipment, if you mark a piece of equipment as deployable, you are going to be required to fill out the location and contact tab. You must have an address entered in here. The best way is to simply type it in, select the address, and then it's going to auto fill in all the information, including latitude and longitude, which is going to be important because for deployable equipment, if you have the latitude and longitude, it's going to map it. So there's going to be two different maps. There's an equipment list map as well as a deployable equipment list map. It'll be available on both maps. From there, you have to add a contact. You can add up to 2 contacts in this case. There's the add button. Simply enter in the first name, last name, email, and you have to have a phone number. So simply type in a phone number in there. And then once you're done, simply click Save. And you'll see that that Save button is going to activate. And it's going to allow you to save. Now, if you don't have location and contact information in, you will get an error message. It's going to tell you that you are required to have location and contact information. You can't save or move forward. In the new record, it's in the same place. If you click on new, you'll see that that's where the deployable checkbox is. You'll see that deployable account is the default. So when you click that checkbox, that's what gets defaulted. And if you want to switch it, just simply click to organization. When we're looking at an import, so when you're looking at an import function when it comes to adding in deployable equipment on an import. Let's talk about that. I'm going to populate the template here. So the template itself, as of today, just has one column in here for deployable, and here it is. It's column J. So if you put in true, this is going to be defaulted to deployable account. So we don't have an option as of today to mark it as a deployable organization as of yet. That will be available in a future release. As for today, if you use the import and you mark it as deployable, it will be marked in the system as account. Now, how do you change that? Well, the only way to change that is a manual add as of today. So you will have to go into the system. So you have to go into the system itself. So in this case, this aerial engine is set up as deployable account. You have to click on edit, and then you'll have to click organization and save. Again, making sure that you check the location and contact, make sure that information is up to date before you click save. So that is the only way. Now we do have a release that's coming soon that's going to give you much more visibility when it comes to your deployable equipment. We made a lot of changes in our next release, which will be, I want to say, probably in the next week or two. You'll see all of that populate through with all the changes. And I'll show you that at the end here. So that is the equipment profile for updating. There is also a multi-add function. So the multi-add function in this case, if you are going to enter this in as a multi-add, so again, these are all marked as deployable already. So let me just clear that out and just mark this as, or add a filter in here for false. So I'm just looking at my equipment that's not been marked as deployable yet. So let's say I've got these ambulances in here and I want to mark them all as deployable. So if I click the check boxes next to the record, I get this edit multiple function. So at the very top right, very first button, looks like a pencil, is the edit multiple feature. Simply click on that. In here, you have the option to mark it as deployable, true. So in here, if you use the multi-edit, it's going to mark them as deployable organization. So that's the default in here is deployable organization. We've made some changes. You're going to see that come through in the next release with some changes here as well, where you'll be able to mark it as deployable account or deployable organization. Again, same thing rings true. You do have to have an address as well as a contact. So even when you're marking it through the multi-edit, you still have to enter in an address and a contact in order for you to save. So that's going to be important. So two columns in here that's going to really assist you in allowing you to see what equipment has been marked as deployable and which ones have been marked as account versus organization. Now moving from our equipment list, we're going to take a look at the deployable list. So the deployable equipment list is the next icon next to that. It looks like a truck. It's going to take you into your deployable equipment list. So this is going to list all equipment that's been marked as deployable account and deployable organization. Now, the difference between deployable organization is that you'll only see the pieces of equipment marked as deployable organization if you have access to that organization. So since I'm set all the way at the top level and have access to all deployable equipment, I'll be able to see everything. So the total piece of equipment in here for the entire account is 143. So that's what I see. Your deployable equipment list is a read-only list. You cannot make any changes or edits on this list. All the changes are made on the equipment list or the list view. So when you click on a piece of equipment, it's going to pop up a details window. And this is where you'll be able to see some of the information on that piece of equipment. Again, in here, we've made some changes as well in our next release that's going to show you whether this piece of equipment is deployable account or deployable organization. As of today, there is really no way to see that information. So that's why we're making all these different changes to give you more visibility to your equipment. You'll see that consumables can be marked as deployable. So that's why I have this consumable column in here to show you that if you have consumables, you can mark them as such. So here's this 3 P95 mask that's marked as true and it's been marked as deployable. So here's your list. On the map, there is a map function. So the map is this icon right here. Right now it's hidden. That's why it's gray. If I click on it, it's going to activate the map. The map is to the right. And you're going to see that every piece of equipment that's marked as deployable should have a pin next to it, a purple pin. Now you might find some that do not have a purple pin but are still marked as deployable. The reason for this is because of an import. So in the import itself, the import does not require you to enter in an address and contact information. So if I just mark this as true and I fill in the required information and import this in, it's going to mark that piece of equipment as true. However, when I go in and manually access that record in SalamanderLive, that's when it's going to tell me that I have to enter in location and contact information. So you can choose to mark it as true and enter the address and contact information later, or you can fill that out right from the import template. We've got fields to collect that information. It's further down the line here. So here it is, address information. You'll see that information right here, and then contact. So you have contact 1 and contact 2. So it just depends on your internal process if you want to do it beforehand with the import or you want to do it later. So within the map itself, if you've used SalamanderLive before, you are used to seeing this on the equipment side, just know that these pins right here, if you click on any one of them, it's going to pull up details about that piece of equipment. So it's the same as if you were to just click on the record, the line record itself. The difference with this is that This map right here is only going to show what you have showing on this page. So I have the maximum here. I'm showing 100 records at a time. So this map is just showing this very first page of 100 records. If I move to the next page, it's going to show the next 43. So it doesn't show every single one of them. The reason for that is just the map can get very, very, very dense, especially if you have thousands of deployable equipment. It's just, you're going to have just dots all over. So that's why we've limited it to per page. Another thing on here is that if you wanted to zone in on a specific piece of equipment and where it's at, you could simply click on the checkbox next to that record. And it's going to simply zoom in on the map to that location. Same thing, you can click on it and you can see that those details. If you want to look at a couple of them, let's say you've got a couple trucks that you need to deploy, you can click on both of them. And that one's all the way down to Phoenix. That's too far away. So you can kind of just see where everything is at on that map. And you'll see the map just auto zooms in on the location itself. So that is the deployable equipment map. Now I can definitely switch over to the list view and it's going to update that map based off of what's available here and marked as with location and contact information. So this is everything. All equipment I have access to, whether it's marked as deployable or not, they'll be listed within this map. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. To hide the map, simply click on the icon again, and it hides that map. If you ever need to go into full screen mode, you can always click on the full screen button, takes you to full screen mode. And then from there, if you want to zoom in on a piece of equipment, just hold down the shift key and draw a square with your mouse, and it just allows you to zoom in. Okay. So just keep doing that until you get as close as you need to of where you want to see where it's at. So this one's at the target center. So that's the full screen map. To exit full screen, simply click on the button again, and then you're exited out of that. I'm going to talk about another feature in here that's available for deployable equipment. Now, most of you probably have an internal process when it comes to requesting deployable equipment. Just know that there is a functionality in here that allows you to request equipment, whether it's from your own department or from a different department. So that's what the deployable equipment database does, is it allows you to share what you have available with other organizations within your SalamanderLive account. So if you have a county-wide implementation or a statewide implementation, you can have all the different agencies, all the different departments, share your inventory or your equipment across the board. Now, the one thing when it comes to requesting deployable equipment is that the piece of equipment does have to have a contact. So it has to have an email for that contact. So best way to do that is click on the columns button right here, and then just simply click on it, and then just look at the contact email. So contact one, I'm just going to add that in here. I'm just going to move it up. And then you go through your email and look at the one that you're looking at requesting. So I'm going to use this one right here, the service truck. So when I click the checkbox next to that record, I'm going to see a button appear at the top right. You can't see it here. It's actually underneath this more options because of the map. So you'll see that it appears here, request deployable item. If I hide the map, you'll see the icon appear at the top right. All you need to do in this case is simply click on the email button, and then you're going to see that's going to Lee Austin. That's his contact information, and it's saying that you are requesting the following piece of equipment. And then you can enter any additional information in here. So maybe you're looking at using it for an event, or you need to pull it um, for for whatever it is that you're looking at using it for. So you can put in that information in here. I'm just going to put in test. and then I'm going to send that. Once I send that out, it's going to get sent to the person in their inbox, and that looks just like this. So it's going to come from SalamanderLive notifications, as most emails that are sent or communication that's sent through the SalamanderLive system is going to come from SalamanderLive notifications. So make sure that's on your safe sender list. I'll make sure that this is nice and large. So it's going to say hello and the person's name, and then your name, your email address is requesting the following piece of equipment, similar as you saw in that little pop-up. And then your message is right here. So that's your custom message. You'll see in here, why did I receive it? It's because you are listed as the contact for this piece of equipment. Now, if you need to reply to this email, you don't want to click reply at the top here. If you click reply, it's going to be sent to SalamanderLive notifications. We'll get it. If we see it, we'll just forward it over because your email is listed in here. But what they'll want to do is they want to click on that email to respond to you. Or again, you could just receive this, forward it over, and then send in your response. So this is the way to respond to these types of emails. So that is the deployable equipment request form and email. So again, you have to have a contact email in here. All right, so this is a user, again, set up at the account level and has access to all. So what does it look like for a user that is set up as a child organization? So we're going to take a look at another account just so they can see this. So this user, Brian Armstrong, I'm going to pull up his account. I'm going to go into his profile, top right, so you can see his access. So he's given access to SalamanderLive and Track. His role is he is an administrator with no security access, which means that he can't access security users down here. So if he clicks on it, it's going to say access denied. And he is set to Moosewood Police Department with children access. So if we want to take a look at the organization hierarchy where he's at, you can click on organizations. And you'll see these are the organizations he has access to. You see this list is a lot smaller than the list that you saw before with Mr. Tanner Packman. Look at the organization tree. Salamander Technologies, again, always at the top. You'll see Sal Live Training, which is at the account level. So he does not have access to this. So where is he? So he's basically placed underneath Moose County Emergency Management. So this is where he's at. So all he has access to when it comes to data is going to be Moosewood Police Department and these two organizations underneath. So 3 organizations he has access to. So this is going to be important to know for Mr. Brian Armstrong is that he can, when it comes to equipment marked as deployable equipment, he can only see those that have been marked to Moosewood Police Department, District Attorney Office, and Spring Valley Fire. That's it. As well as any that's been marked as deployable account. So all equipment marked as deployable account for the entire account underneath Sal Live Training, he'll be able to see that. So let's take a look at his list compared to the list we saw before when it comes to deployable equipment. So clicking on the equipment side, you'll see a deployable equipment list, and you'll see he only has access to 34 of them. 34 of them. Okay. Compared to the other one is 143. So that, you know, he's restricted. So there's a lot of these a lot of these pieces of equipment that's marked as deployable organization that he does not have access to. So the same process in this works. He can click on the record. He can view it. In this case, he can view it. So this is set up at deployable account. He can click on that. That's why it says Moosewood County Public Health. It's because this piece of equipment was marked at the account level. So that's why he can see that. So that's the difference between the two lists. Any questions so far on what we've covered when it comes to visibility, where to find the deployable equipment toggle, how it works when you are adding or editing a piece of equipment and toggling on deployable, and what's required when you mark a piece of equipment as deployable, as well as any questions on the import. Any questions? No questions? All right, so what I want to show you now is um, just talk about a couple examples of why you'd mark one as deployable versus account. So there's a lot of different things that you might want to mark as deployable, and there's might be items that you don't want to mark as deployable. So just some examples in this case. Um, Maybe you're looking at internal equipment. So you're using Salamander Live to track all of your inventory. So it could be inventory that you're giving out to employees. As they are employed, they will get a laptop, they'll get a phone, they may get a tablet, they may get a radio. These are all equipment that's being assigned to a person, but they're not deployable because that's going to be their personal property as long as they are employed. So in this case, those are equipment that you probably would not mark as deployable. On the other aspect, you might have equipment such as like dive gear, trailers, other vehicles, apparatuses, things like that that are approved for external use. Those are items that you might want to mark as account or organization, depending on whether you want the entire account to see that you have those pieces of equipment or if you don't. Okay, so just a couple different examples of when to utilize deployable and when to mark it as account or organization. Now, next here, what I want to spend some time on is to kind of give you a preview of what's coming. So I want to showcase this because this is going to give you much more visibility. So I talked about everything that we have available today, which we know that it is lacking when it comes to visibility. That's where we're making some of these changes. So again, this is all coming soon. I'm just going to log in here really quick under a different account. This is nice and large. All right, so this is all coming soon. This is going to give you a sneak peek of this. So under the equipment side, some of the things that you're going to see different on here. So remember in the live account I just showed you, it said is deployable, or sorry, is public. In this case, you're going to see that instead of saying is public, it's going to show you the deployable type. So you're going to see it listed here as account or organization. So that's going to help out a lot. So I added is public and you'll see that it just marked it as deployable type in here. So that's a big change. Another one is when you go into the record itself. So I'm going to look at this one that is Sprite account. You're going to see that in the record itself, we've added this band right here that's going to let you know that it's been marked as deployable and what type is it. And it's going to be color coded as well. So blue for account, purple for organization. And you'll see that also within the toggle itself. So if I click edit, you're going to see that here as well. So blue to purple. So you're going to see that change. Looking at it from a deployable organization, just want to show you that sample. And there it is, deployable organization. So that's a change that's coming. Another change that's coming on this list view is if you are looking at marking equipment as deployable account or organization using the multi-edit. So the multi-edit, I'm just going to click on these ones right here. So I'm going to select a bunch of items in here, click the multi-edit button, so edit multiple. From here, you have the deployable drop down just like you have today, except the moment you mark it as true, you automatically get the toggle. So account to organization. Again, deployable account is the default. If you want organization, you must select organization. Same rules apply. You must have address information and contact information for all equipment marked as deployable. Last but not least is on the deployable equipment side. So if I go to the list for deployable equipment, things that you're going to see different in here is that when you click on a piece of equipment, you'll get that details window. And within that details window, it's going to show you whether it's deployable account or deployable organization. So you have the same color scheme that runs through. So that's all the way at the top, nice and bright for you to see the differences. We'll click on that card one again, and then you'll see deployable organization. So again, this is just ways that we're trying to, you know, make it so that you have more visibility, less clicks of a buttons to get into the record to see this information. Any questions? Now the import process is still going to be the same. We are not making any changes to the import as of yet. So that'll be in a future release. So if you do import records in and mark them as deployable, just know that they are going to be marked as deployable account. In this case, if you do the import and you marked it as deployable account, the quickest and easiest way to change them from account to organization is doing a multi-edit. So once you import them in, add your filters. So click on your filters and then select the ones that you need to change from account to organization. And simply click on the edit multiple function, change it true to organization, and then fill in the requirements. So that's going to be the workaround until we get the import updated with deployable type. All right, any questions? Any questions? No questions? All right. Well, this covers everything I wanted to cover on deployable equipment. I mean, in the past, I've always covered this when I go over the equipment database and how to add and enter equipment in, as well as on the asset management side, but we never really just focus on deployable equipment and talk about the differences between the two and break it down as we did today. So I appreciate everybody joining on the call today. Next month, we are going to be covering scan modes again. So if you were in my previous trainings a few months ago, we covered scan mode. However, we're adding a bunch of new scan modes into the live system. So we're going to cover it all over again. And plus, we've made some changes to how to activate and connect your scanner. So please join us back in May. It's going to be May 13th and May 21st. Send me a request at training@salamanderlive.com if you'd like to join the training. Other than that, everybody, thank you all so much for being a part of the training call today. I'll see you next time.